Hi, this problem is from section 6.6. It's the second section you will be learning in your HOX. In my experience, this is one of those problems people struggle with. So I thought I'd make a video and share it with you. By now, by the time you've gotten to this problem, you should have done a few problems that have triangles, that one's just bigger than the other, kind of like this. And you might even be slightly bored. I think you did 2 in a row at least, like that. This is not one of those. Notice these two triangles are connected. What has happened is they had triangles like this, and they turned them and did some crazy twisting and stuff. So how do we untwist this and get this to be more like these two triangles over here? That is what this math language right up top here is for. Let me change to black here. It's easier to see. So this triangle LMN is similar to, that squiggle is a similar sign, triangle OPN. That language tells us everything we need to know. So I am going to simply redraw the bigger triangle exactly as it is. And then I will use those letters to help me figure out how the smaller triangle is oriented. If I'm going to draw it so it's facing the same way as this bigger one. So I have here, there's M, that's the corner, L, and N. And the sides, 8, 20, and X. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw this triangle, a smaller one. But now I need to go back and figure out how this is labeled. So I'm going to look up here and look at just the first two letters. From L to M is the same side of my triangle as from O to P. So L to M is my 8. O to P is 4. The way this triangle is drawn, I have L on the bottom. L matches O, so I'm going to put O on the bottom. The way this triangle is drawn, I have M here on this top corner, and M matches P, so I'm putting P up here. Okay, so I've gotten that now. Well, all we need to do is look and see what that side is. So O to P is the side of 4. I'm going to put the 4 in there. All right, let's do it again. Now we're looking at M to N and P to N. M to N is 20. P to N, right here, P to N, the side is the Y. So the N's up here, M to N and P to N, and the side is the Y. One more. This one's a little harder to see, but the last letter in this name goes to the first letter in the name. So N to L is the same as the last letter to the first letter. So NL is the same as, that should be a squiggle, NL is the same as NO. So here I have N to L. Here that's the same as N to O. So N to L was X. N to O, I marked over it with my scribbles here. N to O is this line, and it's labeled with a 12. So N to O is labeled with a 12. All right, the hard part is done. We've gotten those triangles straightened out. They're facing the same way. The matching sides are in the matching places. I would recommend, if you're struggling with these, spend even a little more time getting to know these triangles. First, I'm going to remove the corner letters. They were just there to help us sort those triangles out. We've sorted them. So now they're just extra. and extra likes to confuse the brain. So we don't need them anymore. We took them out. Next thing then, getting to know these triangles, there will always be a bigger shape and a smaller shape. So I'm going to take the time to get to know them, big and small. We know which side matches because we did the work of orienting them, but the 8 from the big triangle matches the 4 from the small triangle. The 20 from the big triangle matches the Y from the small triangle. And the X, I'm going to cloud it because I'm running out of shapes, matches the 12. All right, so now we know visually, we know because we looked at our letters what matches what. They have told us for this problem to find X. Notice this is step 1 of 2. Once you find X successfully, they will ask you to find Y. There's 2 things you need to do. You need to find a pair of sides that has numbers for both matching sides. And you need to find the pair of sides that includes X, because X is what they told us to find. So I'm going to look for my X, and that's the guy with the cloud. You could either write this as a fraction, X over 12, or you could write 12 over X. Both are correct choices. It's just that whichever choice you choose, you want to stick with. I think I'm going to choose X over 12 for no real reason. I just wrote that one first. So the X came from, mental note, the X came from the larger triangle. So just to help me keep track, I'm going to label this B for big, and the 12 came from the smaller triangle. So I'm going to label that S for small. Now it's time to set up my second half of this proportion, and I've used the matching sides that have X in it. Now I need to find those matching sides that have a number for both sides. And notice right here, we have an 8 from the big triangle and a 4 from the small triangle. So that is my set of matching sides. Now, the way I chose to set this up, I put the side from the big triangle on top. Once I do that, I have to always put the sides from the big triangles on top, which means I'm going to put an 8 right here. And its matching side from the small, 4. I put the side from the small on the bottom before. I'm doing it now. All right, we've got that thing all set up. We have X over 12 equals 8 over 4. As always, you've done a few of these by now. We multiply the numbers that are diagonally opposite each other and divide them by the number that is opposite your unknown, your letter. So now I have X equals 12 times 8 over 4. Some of these problems I give you, multiply and divide out, you get a nice round whole number, and some don't. The ones that don't, they generally want you to answer in fraction form. So instead of using my calculator with these small numbers, I will simply go and do old-fashioned reducing. Will 4 divide into either 12 or 8? Yes, it divides into each, but we just do one of them. So 4 into 8 is 2. 4 into itself is 1. This is the same as 12 times 2 over 1, which is the same as 24 over 1. Now 24 over 1 is the correct answer. Oops, we got some old stuff down here. But it is not fully reduced. Every whole number has a 1 on the bottom. We only write those ones when we need to use them for something. And right now I've come to my final answer. So I'm not going to write 24 over 1. I'm going to just write 24. That is the number you would take and plop into your Hawks answer box. Your next second half of that problem would be to find Y. You would do the same thing, and to keep your life easier, I would keep the same setup, except now put the number from the big that matches, that's the Y's. So notice Y is not from the big triangle, it's from the small one. So if I'm following my same setup, I would put the 20 here and the y down there, big over small, only because that's how I set it up. I would use the 8/4 again to find the value for y. So I hope that helps. Please let me know if you have a question of any kind. If you need a different problem looked at, I'll be glad to do that.